Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Monday Night Horrors. Tonight we have the 70s. But before we get started, we want to thank Ross at Yerg's Radio and Rainbow Radio and WZQR Pine Island. And let's bring out Cheyenne. Yeah, there she is.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Oh, I am fabulous. How are you?
I'm okay. Glad to be here. I'm super excited about the 70s. We're getting into like our cult classics and everything. It's going to be
hmm
great. I'm so excited.
So I figured that we could start off the night with whenever I was going through the list, the the music is a little distracting.
Yeah, the music is still going.
There, thank you.
There it goes.
So whenever I was going through the list of of 70s movies that were out there, there was a bit of a trend I started to notice going on. And so I thought for this, our first little half, I have a dozen here of what I titled the naughty 70s horror
Okay.
that I just picked out of while I was scrolling through. I was like, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 out of these 12 are foreign films as well. So
Okay.
um, I did have to account for sometimes the translation into English sounds a lot worse than they mean it.
Yes.
Um, but I just I didn't want to dive in too deep on these, but I felt like we couldn't leave them untouched. So I went with a quick what their rating is, and just I did a super quick description. So our first one for the evening is going to be the Vampire Lovers,
Mhm.
which is horror erotic that came out in 1970. That got a 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb and is 76% on Rotten Tomatoes. Our one liner for that is female vampire with lesbian tendencies ravages town.
I've never seen that.
I I have not seen it, but I actually heard that it was pretty good. And no, Chris, not the Australian naughty.
Hey, everybody. Wendell, Chris, Abe. Hey, everybody.
Good evening. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We are getting into the naughty 70s first. Uh, so, number 2 here, this is a Spanish film. This is The Horrible Sexy Vampire. And you will notice that vampire is quite a theme in these. Not all of them, but the vast majority of them. So that is obviously horror slash vampire. Also came out in 1970. That got a 4.3 out of 10 and no Rotten Tomato score. So obviously they were like,
Oh,
nope. And there were several here that did not have a Rotten Tomato score. I was rather
not
surprised.
worthy of a score. Wow.
So my synopsis of that, of what I read, was Count and his lover staying in castle with vampire for insurance money. And it was literally they have to go stay in this castle with a vampire so that they can claim whoever's insurance money. Vampire's insurance money? I don't know.
Okay.
Wasn't that a Scooby Doo thing? I'm
For
sorry,
the
but
insurance money,
yeah, I swear I remember that being a Scooby Doo thing.
I wouldn't be terribly surprised. So this next one um, is a horror comedy. Is Sex and the Single Vampire,
Okay.
which came out in 1970, and I believe this one said this starred like like they called him Mr. Porno, I believe it was.
Oh,
But got a 4.2 out of 10 on IMDb. Also, no Rotten Tomatoes rating. So the synopsis of that one is a group of swingers invade Count's house to have sex in haunted house.
Nice. Okay.
Number 4 here was my favorite because all of these I looked at the description of the movie itself because none of these I haven't seen any of these. But I cut it down to about a sentence. But for this next one, I took this directly off the IMDb page. The description that it had on there is exactly what I wrote down here. So this one is an Italian film titled "In the Folds of the Flesh."
Okay.
Yep, my thought exactly. That one also came out in 1970. That got a 5.4 out of 10 on IMDb and a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. And
wow.
it says, and I quote on the IMDb page, incest, decapitations, and a cyanide bath.
Well, okay.
No!
Sounds like a good time.
I was just like, and I was looking this up at work while I'm scrolling through, and I was like, you come look at this. Come look at this. But the Italians have a way with things, I've noticed. So.
Oh, yeah.
Can we get that one more time?
Today was about as much fun as a sandpaper dildo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I feel like that one was accurate.
Yeah.
So next we have The Nude Vampire, which is a horror drama from 1970. It is very descriptive, Chris. Yes, that's why I was like,
I feel like this would have been a great comedy.
I now want to see a porno titled "In the Folds of the Flesh." But yeah, The Nude Vampire, I agree. Just naked vampire running around the streets of New York City.
Yeah.
Downtown San Diego, you never know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Abe gets it. So The Nude Vampire is French. That got a 5.4 out of 10 on IMDb and a 24% on Rotten Tomatoes. And this is a suicide cult seeks immortality from a woman believed to be a vampire.
Okay.
And then our next one here, I think, is a switcheroo take on Nosferatu, which is Vampiros Lesbos.
Oh.
Which is horror erotic, which came out in 1971. Got a 5.1 out of 10 on IMDb and a 56% on Rotten Tomatoes. Woman is seduced in dreams by gorgeous vampire countess. So I was like, okay. I mean, I guess they just. I mean, I would have liked to see them do like a play on words for Nosferatu somehow.
Right.
Because in reading the description, I was like, okay, so she's the sexy countess is coming to this woman in her dreams. And then she has to go on a trip and she ends up meeting her in real life and take the title as you will.
Not for Lesbos.
Yeah. And then our next one here had two titles. When you look it up, it either shows up as The Rites of Frankenstein, or how I found it was titled The Erotic Rites of Frankenstein. And that is horror erotic. Came out in 1972 and is Spanish and French. Got a 5 out of 10 on IMDb and no Rotten Tomatoes score. And the Cliff Notes version of that was evil sorcerer and bird woman kidnap Frankenstein's monster and want to make him a mate.
Bird woman?
It says bird woman in the description. I looked it up several different ways. It did not elaborate what it means by bird woman.
Okay.
A lot of these you can find on Tubi, so you might be able to check that out. But so the evil sorcerer and the bird woman end up killing Dr. Frankenstein, taking the monster. Frankenstein's daughter comes and they recruit her to build the perfect mate for the monster so that they can then, don't know if they can procreate because they're dead.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe if you shock them at just the right time. Yes, Chris.
Yes.
That was a very long title.
Yeah.
And I caught bird woman and the rest was just
Yep. Because I was like, okay, maybe that's just what they put on Google. I went to 5 different sites and it all said bird woman. I was like, I need to know. Like, I'm picturing, do you guys watch Rick and Morty or have watched Rick and Morty?
mm-mm.
Look up bird person. That is the character's name. And that's what I was picturing. And I'm just like, is she like half woman, half bird? Woman with wings, woman with beak? I feel like
the Raven in that Vincent Price movie. I think it was House of Terrors. And he played the Raven. He was just like, he changed him into a raven and everything. And he wore like all black through the whole movie.
So our next one here, another Italian film, The Slasher is a Sex Maniac! !
Okay.
That is a horror crime that came out in 1972. Got a 6 out of 10 on IMDb and no Rotten Tomatoes score. So I think this is one of those where the title gets lost in translation a little bit, because when you type that in, it pops up under the Italian name, which I don't remember what it was, but I think it's what they're putting translates differently to how we do it. I just liked this title, so. So that is basically serial killer kills off unfaithful wives. Rather anticlimactic on that one for the title. I don't know where him being a sex maniac comes into killing the unfaithful wives, unless he is the one making them unfaithful and then he kills them. I don't know.
Seems like they're the sex maniacs. Or maybe he's the maniac killing them because they're having sex with other people.
And not him.
Yeah, maybe he's just jealous.
Then we have Blood Orgy of the She-Devils.
Oh.
Which was a horror thriller that came out in 1973. Got a 3.1 out of 10 on IMDb and a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh my gosh.
And this one is basically Witch Queen practices black magic with global implications. I was hoping for something a little more saucy, but
right.
Same with this next one. And I read some reviews, and I think again our next one is a Spanish movie, so it could be another one of those lost in translation. Because I was looking through some of the reviews, and people were just like, "This title is so misleading. There's no orgy anywhere." So we come to the Vampire Night Orgy. I'm wondering if maybe it was supposed to be in Spanish like some type of gathering,
Okay.
because this includes a town where vampires live. So
Okay.
I'm thinking that might be where, I don't know. But that got a 4.8 out of 10 and a 19% on Rotten Tomatoes,
Oh gosh.
with the lowest ones so far, except for the ones that have no Rotten Tomatoes rating. But this is basically a busload of tourists visit a European town that happens to be inhabited by vampires. And our next one here, also in the reviews, were like, this title is misleading. We go to another Italian film, which is Nude for Satan. Which is horror erotic, came out in 1974, got a 4.3 out of 10 on IMDb and a 31% on Rotten Tomatoes. A doctor stops at a remote castle to help an injured young woman, only to find that the inhabitants mirror the dark side of himself in the woman. They were
Just
like,
so
yeah,
Just so you know, earlier today on X, Satan was trending.
Gotcha.
Just so you know.
Thank you. It was probably for how many times I had to Google Nude for Satan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then our last one for our naughties, or our naughty 70s horror, is Strip Nude for Your Killer. Another Italian one. And this one is a horror mystery that came out in 1975, got a 5.6 out of 10 on IMDb and a 39% on Rotten Tomatoes. And that one is a model dies during a botched abortion, and those closely connected to her are killed off one by one.
Gotta love the 70s.
I was just like, these are, you know, there are too many of these as I'm scrolling to pass up.
Yeah.
So I've got to, and at first I was just jotting them down real quick on the corner of my paper, and then there started to become so many. I was like, yeah, I got to create a separate sheet for all of this.
Oh my gosh. Peace and love, man.
Peace, love, and vampire sex.
Yeah. That's great.
So do you have our 70s list brought up?
I do.
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go through a couple of them?
Go for it.
I believe you, Abe. I believe you.
Yeah.
I was actually looking for one in the 2000s today that it was made on a $3,500 budget. And you can apparently very much tell. And I was hoping that it was going to be on the list somewhere, but I think because it was so small, it wasn't on the list anywhere. I'm scrolling through 2008 like crazy trying to find it, and I could not find it anywhere. So yeah, I fully believe that there are a million more out there. Those just happen to be the ones that they were like, "Here, Cheyenne, you need to see this today."
And they may be on the list I have. I'm not sure. I haven't even looked at this list. So be prepared. I can't even say prepared tonight. It's been a Monday. Be prepared for a lot of mispronunciation. I've been so tongue-tied today. It's been insane.
So it's a Monday. It's fine. So we are going to start out 1970 with a favorite of mine, being The Dunwich Horror, which was released to the day 26 years before my birth by Alta Vista Productions. that got a 5.4 out of 10 on IMDb and a 29% on Rotten Tomatoes. That starred Sandra Dee as Nancy Wagner, Dean Stockton as Wilbur Whatley, Ed Begley as Dr. Henry Armitage, and Lloyd Bachner as Dr. Corey. So the story of the Dunwich Horror basically goes that Dr. Henry Armitage, an expert in the occult, goes to the old Whatley Manor in Dunwich looking for Nancy, a student that went missing the previous night. He and a friend of Nancy's are turned away by Wilbur, the family's insidious heir, who has plans for the young girl, but Armitage won't be deterred. Through conversations with locals, he soon unearths the Whatley's darkest secret as well as a great evil. And for anybody who doesn't know, that is based on the 1928 novella by H.P. Lovecraft, and it is considered one of the core stories of the Cthulhu mythos. I love me some H.P. Lovecraft. Which the book runs very similarly on that line, with things switched around just a little bit. It's a good story if you want to hear him talking about the Necronomicon. H.P. Lovecraft's got a thing for the Necronomicon, so that was in there a good bit. If you like big, nasty monsters, good book. And then we will move on to April 3rd of 1970 with Count Dracula by Filmar Campagna. As this came out in Germany first before it came out anywhere else, from my research at least, which got a 5.6 out of 10 on IMDb, a 44% on Rotten Tomatoes, starring Christopher Lee as Dracula, Klaus Kinski as Renfield, Herbert Lom as Van Helsing, Maria Ram as Mina, and Fred Williams as Jonathan Harker. So this was director Jesus Franco's version of the Bram Stoker classic, which portrays Count Dracula as an old man who grows younger when he dines on the blood of young maidens. And a cool fact that I was looking at is that Bela Lugosi, obviously OG Dracula, portrayed himself at he is quintessential vampire. But so he, in his movies, played a vampire 4 different times, 2 being as Dracula, but Christopher Lee appeared as Dracula in 9 different films, as well as 2 different Dracula-adjacent vampire roles, which I thought was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And our first Vincent Price of the night,
Yay!
We get Cry of the Banshee, which came out July 22nd by American International Pictures. Got a 5.5 out of 10 on IMDb and a measly 38% on Rotten Tomatoes, which stars Vincent Price as Lord Edward Whitman, Elizabeth Bergner as Una, S.E. Pearson as Lady Patricia Whitman, and Hugh Griffith as Mickey. So I guess this was a different take on, we'll say, like Salem witch trials, just not in Salem. So maniacal witch hunter Lord Edward Whitman persecutes the peasants in Elizabethan England, manufacturing charges and meting out punishment while trying to wipe out a coven of witches. He fails to take into account, though, that there is a possibility that real witches might have real power. He is unprepared when Una, the head of the coven, transforms a trusted member of Whitman's household into a vehicle of demonic vengeance. And I have not seen a whole lot with Vincent Price, but anytime I see him, I always think back to Scooby-Doo with their because where
Yeah.
they would joke on H.P. Lovecraft, they had instead of Vincent Price, he was Vincent Van Gogh.
Mm-hmm.
So I always really liked that.
Yeah. He was great.
And our next one on here, I threw in just for Glenn, which is Bigfoot, that came out October 21st by Gemini American Productions. Got a 2.1 out of 10 on IMDb and a 29% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I always
Yeah.
go for the high dollar ones, the big sell.
Well, it was the 70s.
Can't expect much.
So that starred John Carradine as Jasper Hawks, Joy Lansing as Joy Landis, Judith Jordan as Chris, and John Mitchum as Elmer Briggs. And again, this was the description that they gave. This was not me pulling the description out of my butt. A biker, a bear, a girl, and a sideshow promoter meet the legendary biped of the Pacific Northwest.
That's great.
And I agree, Chris. Vehicle of demonic possession. I like that.
Oh.
Yeah, a biker, a bear, a girl, and a sideshow promoter walk into a bar. And
Right?
they meet Bigfoot.
That's what it reminds you of.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's
And
hilarious.
I believe in part of what I read, the sideshow promoter, and I don't know why this was thrown in with Bigfoot, but I'm pretty sure the sideshow promoter was some relative to Victor Frankenstein.
It wasn't a podcast guy who had a bunch of women, right?
It was not. I don't.
Okay, good.
He probably has bodies in his closet somewhere.
Shh! Don't tell Andy secrets.
My bad. It did not say he was in a wheelchair, so.
There we go.
Then lastly, for 1970, we have Dorian Gray, which came out December 9th by Sargon Film, which got a 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb and a 55% on Rotten Tomatoes. That starred Helmut Berger as Dorian Gray, Richard Todd as Basil Hallward, Herbert Lom as Henry Wooten, and Marie, last name I can't pronounce, as Sybil Vane. Lil Jadhal, I believe she's got a funky last name, but she played Sybil, so we'll go with that. So that is a corrupt young man retains his youthful beauty through a mysterious special painting which begins to reveal his age and depravity itself. And that is obviously based on the 1890 novel by Oscar Wilde, The Picture of Dorian Gray.
Wasn't Dorian Gray the name of the guy in 50 Shades of Grey?
Christian Grey.
Christian Grey. That's right.
It's fun.
Okay.
That's immediately what I go to as well. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not that.
I could not think of his first name in the book.
Yeah.
I've read all of those and could not think of his name. And the first movie you talked about was the Dunwich Horror. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so.
I love me some H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah. Sounds good. There were a lot of other movies in 1970.
There were.
Yes. A lot of these I haven't seen, surprisingly, because as we get closer to now, the present, I've seen more and more movies, but I'm surprised I haven't seen a lot of these from 1970. We had Awakening of the Beast. The Beast in the Cellar. You mentioned Bigfoot. There was The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, or Plumage. The Blind Woman's Curse. Blood Mania. That sounds pretty gory. The Bloody Judge.
That's probably a kinky one.
Right? I
Blood
just feel we're
Mania.
going to see a lot more of those. Yeah, Blood Mania. We got The Blood Rose. Bloodthirsty Butches.
Bloodthirsty what?
Butches. I'm like, is it supposed to be bitches? Or is it really butches? Butches. Butches.
We'll say bloodthirsty britches.
Then we have
Which
Chiosu
that kind of sounds even
Ningo,
worse.
right? You talked about Count Dracula. Then we have Count Yorga Vampire. Crescendo. You mentioned Cry of the Banshee. Dissect 70. Dream No Evil. I believe I have actually seen that. We got El Bosque del Lobo. We have Vampiro de la Autopista. Equinox. Flesh Feast. Goodbye Gemini. The Horror of Frankenstein. House of Dark Shadows. The House That Would Not Die. That was a made-for-TV movie. We have I Drink Your Blood.
I saw that one, and all I could
Mhm.
picture was Daniel Day-Lewis doing that. And I just kept laughing.
I think I may have actually seen I Drink Your Blood. I've seen so many horror movies, it's hard to keep up with what I've seen.
Like they all have blood in the title. They're all the same.
Right? Yeah. Then there's E Castillo Dalle Porte di Fuoco. Then Jonathan. And then Loki's.
Just Jonathan.
And then we have just Loki's. Then we have Los Monstruos del Terror. The Man Who Haunts.
I'm going to assume that's the Monster of Terror.
Yes.
I tried Duolingo with Spanish for a while, and I just can't.
Abe's on day like 1500 or something with his Spanish. I'm on day like 600 with Italian.
I tried Klingon briefly for a little bit, but yeah, that didn't.
Yeah. We've got The Man Who Haunted Himself. How? I want to know how. I want to go see
any details.
How. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, which one, Chris? Then we have Mark of the Devil. Scars of Dracula.
Another Christopher Lee.
Trog. What is Trog? Has anyone seen Trog? Trog. Trog. Never heard of it.
I'm thinking like troglodyte.
Yeah, something. You mentioned The Vampire Lovers. That's on there. Then we have Venus Flytrap. The Werewolf versus Vampire Woman. Sounds pretty good. And The Wizard Gore. Abe said it is short for troglodyte.
Oh, okay. It was a good guess.
Yeah. So that is 1970. So not a lot that I've seen on that one, surprisingly. A couple do sound good. I may have to check out.
I'm curious about Jonathan.
Yeah. Yeah. And Loki's just.
I feel like it should be
Bigfoot kind of deal.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So then we will start out 1971 with the Zodiac Killer. which came out April 7th by Adventure Productions, which got a 4.4 out of 10 on IMDb and a 15% on Rotten Tomatoes, which starred Hal Reed as Jerry, Bob Jones as Grover, Ray Lynch as Sergeant Pittman, and Tom Pittman as Officer Heller, which it's pretty self-explanatory. A serial killer in San Francisco murders without motive or apparent pattern and taunts the police with phone calls and letters. And I was a little interested and got a nice a couple little tidbits here. So because I'm big into serial killers and stuff like that. So the letters from the Zodiac first started in July of 1969 and ended in 1974. 4 of them had cryptograms enclosed, and 2 of which were solved in 1969 and 2020. And in 2009, it was reported that the San Francisco Police Department had investigated approximately 2,500 suspects, and out of that 2,500 suspects, only 6 were seen to be credible. And there was really only one guy that they actively looked into. I forget what his name was. But even it was unfounded for him. And according to a 2020 study, still to this day, between 50 and 100 suspects are still named to be the Zodiac Killer every year.
It's crazy.
So then we have Dracula versus Frankenstein, which came out September 20th by Independent International Productions, which got a 3.5 out of 10 on IMDb, a 25% on Rotten Tomatoes, which starred J. Carroll Nash as Dr. Frankenstein, Lon Chaney Jr. as, I'm going to assume that is pronounced Groton or Groton. I'm not sure. Zandor Borkov as Count Dracula, and John Bloom as Frankenstein's monster. So Count Dracula forces fun park owner Dr. Frankenstein to revive his infamous monster. So I was incorrect whenever I was talking about the sexy one earlier. That, which one was it? Oh, hold on. I got to look back here. There was one that I could have sworn in the sexy movies. One of them was related to oh shoot, it was it was on the Bigfoot, the biker, a bear, a girl, and a sideshow promoter. I thought that the sideshow promoter had something to do with Frankenstein, but no, it was this one. He was a fun park owner. So I guess Dr. Frankenstein moved on from reanimating corpses and is like, hey, I'm going to open up a theme park because why not? And Dracula's like, hey, dude, I need you to get big guy up and running again. And our last one on here for 71, IMDb was a little bit weird because it posed me 3 other options that I was looking at that I did not really feel like fell under the category, 2 of which I knew didn't. One was a little hit or miss. 2 options that it gave me that they had labeled under horror was Straw Dogs and Dirty Harry.
Really?
Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry. And I was like, I don't know a whole lot of Clint Eastwood, but Like, my mom loves Clint Eastwood and John Wayne. I know enough to know that I'm pretty sure Clint Eastwood was not in a horror movie.
No.
I was like, and
That's
I
funny.
am 99% sure Dirty Harry is not a horror movie. I could be wrong, but the third one it gave me, I decided to go ahead and put on here because I feel like it's technically not listed as a horror movie.
Mhm.
I think you could look at it, it's more psychological than anything. But it gave me A Clockwork Orange, and it's a good movie, so I put it on here.
I
Which
know
came
everyone loves that movie, and I love Malcolm, but I cannot watch that movie.
it's I mean, I feel like it's one of those that's like you watch it once and you're good.
Yeah, it has this Willy Wonka feel about it, and that's
That's
another movie
the
that I don't really go back and watch repeatedly.
that's the Kubrick effect for you.
Yeah.
Because I got told the same thing about The Shining,
Oh,
which
yeah? I
as
love The
I'm
Shining.
which as I'm sure I've said a million times, my top 5 favorite movies, 4 of them are musicals, and actually my number 1 favorite movie actually comes up here in a little bit. Excited for that.
Oh, no.
But my the only one out of there that's my favorite that is not a musical is The Shining. And I got told several times, well, it's a slow burn. It's one of those you see once you're good. And I'm just like, every time it's on, I'm like, so I
I know
like to
what's your
say that
favorite
that's,
movie now.
yeah, it depends for me. Of like, if you don't start getting me engaged in the first little bit of the movie, I'm like,
Yeah.
but
It can't start slow.
yeah, and I mean, it was a little bit of a slow startup, but something about it I liked. And like I said, for me, the Kubrick effect has the effect on me that I'm just like, this is amazing. And we will talk about The Shining next episode because that'll go into 80s. But just a side note on that of talking about Kubrick, which I think is very funny because I started listening to the audiobook, and the beginning of the book as compared to the movie are very, very different.
Okay.
Very, very, very different. Because, whenever Jack Nicholson gets up there and he's like doing his like little interview and everything,
Mhm.
they're all super nice. And in the book, they're like I forget what his name is, but the guy that was running the hotel, um, in the book, he is an ass.
Oh. Well,
Chris, it depends on what the idle chatter is about. But no, in the beginning of the book, it starts off like right at that scene, and they're like, I was like, oh God, this is vastly different.
huh.
But wasn't The Shining also one that Stephen King had an issue with and did another version of, as well as he did it?
I'm not sure.
Because I know
I never
they.
really followed Stephen King that closely.
I'm a big Stephen King junkie, and I
I'm definitely more of a movie person than a reading person.
well, and you and I had this this discussion before we started this of like, oh, I'm the book one, you're the movie one. So
Yeah.
as
Yeah, if they've made a movie of it, I've probably seen it. I do love the Stephen King movies.
mm-hmm. But I'm just so bad about picking apart the good, like the stuff that they left out of the movie that was so good in the book. Like, don't get me started on Harry Potter with that, because I'll start getting angry.
I know my niece has read all the Harry Potter books, and I'm like, so tell me all the things, because I
Oh,
would
there's
love
so
to sit down
much.
and read them. It's so long, but I would
Uh,
love to sit down and read them.
the guy who reads them on Audible, his voice is just amazing. Like now, if I'm
Yeah,
having trouble sleeping, I will literally throw on the Sorcerer's Stone and listen to it from the beginning, and I'm just like,
I may have to
it's
try that.
fantastic. It's fantastic. But anyway, back to A Clockwork Orange. It's the
Squirrel.
Kubrick effect. Got an 8.2 out of 10 on IMDb and a 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, hush, Abe, it does not. Saying reading sucks. Of course, the only one that really matters out of all this, we've got Malcolm McDowell as Alex, Patrick McGee as Mr. Alexander, Michael Bates as Chief Guard, and Warren Clark as Dim. The slimmed down version of the Cliff Notes version for anybody who hasn't seen it is Alex and his droogs spend their nights getting high before enjoying some ultra violence. After he's jailed, Alex submits to behavior modification techniques to earn his freedom. Returned to the world defenseless, Alex becomes the victim of his prior victims. So he learned karma is a biatch.
Yep.
So what else do we got for 71?
71. We have The Abominable Dr. Phibbs. Great movie.
All right.
And Comes the Dawn, but colored red.
Tell me that one more time.
And Comes the Dawn, but colored red.
All right. That's the title.
Beast of Blood. Beast of the Yellow Night. Black Noon. Blood and Lace. Good movie. Blood from the Mummy's Tomb. Blood on the Lips. Blood on Satan's Claw. Bloodthirst.
Is
The
but
Brotherhood.
is there blood though?
There should be.
Okay.
If not, they need to rename it.
Just wanted to keep myself prepared.
Oh, Abe came in and said it's Fives. The Abominable Dr. Fives. Sorry.
It's Fibs now. Deal with it.
Let's see. The Brotherhood of Satan. The Butcher of Benbrook. Cake of Blood. Case of the Scorpion's Tail. Okay.
All right.
Chi O Su Mi. The Corpse Grinders. Countess Dracula. Creatures the World Forgot. Crucible of Terror. The Devil's Nightmare. Dracula versus Frankenstein. Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde.
I'm intrigued. I saw that one. I'm intrigued by that. I don't know how that's going to work. You know what I mean? Because I'm curious.
It has to be like a transition type thing, I guess. Well, I mean, he transitioned from Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde anyway, so it would just be a transition to female.
My first thought to when I think of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, though, is from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, with how freaking big he is. So I'm thinking like that. But I saw that and I'm thinking of like an Edward Mordrake situation where he's got like a head on the back of his.
Oh yeah,
it's the females back there. That's
right.
That's Sister Hyde back there.
Right. And I wonder if it's like sister like brother sister or sister like nun. So I was wondering that too.
We will have to investigate that.
Yeah, we'll have to investigate that one. Jot that one down.
Noted.
Then we have then we have exorcist. We'll get back to you all on that one, Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde. Then we have Exorcism's Daughter, Feast of Satan, Fright, Hands of the Ripper, Hanno Cambiato Faccia, The Headless Eyes. I think we just saw that one too. The House That Dripped Blood, I Drink Your Blood, Iguana with the Tongue of Fire.
I saw
thought-
that one and I was like,
Okay.
all right.
Il Gato on Nove Code.
It's the cat of something.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
That's a tongue twister. I Monster. The Incredible Two-Headed Transplant. I'm not like a monster movie person. Like if it's Godzilla, I'm out. I'll turn on something else. So I haven't seen a lot of the monster
Wendell.
films.
No. Just no. No,
There we have
no scary porns.
Isle of the Snake People. And let's see, back up here.
And that makes me wonder, do they just worship snakes, or are we talking about like people that turn into snakes, or is this snakes with people faces, people with snake faces?
Since it's Isle of the Snake People, I have a feeling that people get trapped on an island with people who look like snakes.
But see, and that's kind of like the if you've seen the pictures of like where would a giraffe wear its tie, if it's like
Right.
up, or like so are they
Yeah.
like snakes with people faces, or are they people with like?
We'll have to look into that one too.
I love the snake people. All right. We got homework, people.
Okay, let's see. We've got Let's Scare Jessica to Death. I take it they did a good job since that's the name
Joke's
of the
on
movie.
them. She turned it around.
Came back after him probably. We have Lizard in a Woman's Skin.
That was the OG lizard people.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
We have Lo Strangulatore di Vienna. And Lust for a Vampire. The Mephisto Waltz. Muñeca Rena. Murders in the Rue Morgue.
Some Edgar Allan Poe action.
Nella Stretta Morsa del Ragno. The Nightcomers. The Night Digger. The Night Evelyn Came Out of the Grave. Sounds pretty good. The Night God Screamed. I thought that sounded intense.
Well, so I'm again just how my brain works. Like, are we talking about a night god, like a god of night, and he screams, or are we talking about it was like the night the lights went out in
God
Georgia,
Screamed.
like the night god screamed.
The Night God Screamed. Yeah, that's a good question.
He was having a Monday.
Yeah, as we all have today. We have Night of Dark Shadows, Octoman, Requiem por un Vampire, The Return of Count Yorga. We had Count Yorga in 1970. Now we have The Return of Count Yorga. We have Simon, King of the Witches. Tombs
King of the
the
Witches.
Blind. Mm-hmm.
All
Yep,
right.
Simon.
All right,
Hymns
Simon.
of the Blind Dead, The Touch of Satan, Twins of Evil, Twitch of the Dead, Death Nerve, The Vampire Happening, The Velvet Vampire, I think you mentioned that one, Venom, What the Peeper Saw,
I did see that one.
Werewolf Shadow, Werewolves on Wheels. So are we talking like cars, roller skates? Like what kind of wheels here?
Okay, so hear me out.
It is 71
So what was it? What was it?
werewolves on wheels.
Werewolves on Wheels. So I'm thinking roller boogie, but werewolves.
And then it turns
Like,
into like roller derby because they're werewolves. So like,
yeah. No, so it's gonna open up like have you seen roller boogie?
I don't think so.
Oh my gosh. Like I am not the type that's into, and I'm sure some people would disagree that it's not cringe, but to me it's one of those kind of cringe movies, but I loved it because it was so cheesy. The opening is, I would say they're like right on the boardwalk in California, and like one guy's got like, the big boom box on his shoulder, and they are all just in this giant group together, just rollerblading down the down the boardwalk. And that's immediately what I'm picturing. Or
Yeah.
Werewolves on Wheels is like a werewolf food truck.
Chris says
Meals
it's
on
a
Wheels.
monster truck.
Okay.
Meals on Wheels.
Okay. Or they're handing
geez.
out
Did
baby
they have?
werewolves.
This is 71. Did they have food trucks in the 70s?
Glenn.
Hey, I was 3, but no, I don't believe they did. So
Okay.
Just checking.
that's Wendell.
That's like that time my niece was studying the Civil War and she was like, I don't know, go ask Grandpa. He was there. My dad. Let's
That's
see.
like
We've
when they
got.
start calling the 90s the 1900s.
Oh, I know. Now they have that shirt that says, "Please forgive me, I'm slow. I'm from the 1900s."
It's going to throw up a little bit.
Oh,
Would be accurate, but
right. We've got What's the Matter with Helen? We don't know. I haven't seen it. Now I want to know what's the matter with Helen. And then Whoever Slew Auntie Roo, Willard, and Zot, Zaat. And that is 1971.
all right.
So a few good ones on there that I've seen, but a lot I haven't. A couple of questionable ones that we have to look into and actually find out what the heck they're referring to.
Yeah, I have jotted them down because I feel I need to know. I feel like I need to jot down werewolves. So werewolves on wheels?
Yeah.
On wheels. Yeah,
I
we've
have
got
to like
homework to
Google
do.
that one now.
Yeah, I need to know.
Yeah, I gotta know. It's bikes. It's bicycles, not motorcycles, bicycles.
Okay. Now
I
I'm
couldn't
picturing
wait.
like E.T.
Oh wait, maybe it is motorcycles. Hold on.
That's even
Let me
worse.
get a better
That's
picture.
somehow worse.
Oh, it is motorcycles. They're on motorcycles.
It's a werewolf biker gang. Okay.
Yep,
All right.
that fantastic.
Fabulous. So then we are going into 1972 with Tales from the Crypt,
Woo woo.
which came out on March 8th by Amicus Productions. Got a 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb and a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Since this is like one of the anthologies the main thing here was Ralph Richardson was the crypt keeper, and then some other individuals in some of the different stories were Joan Collins, Ian Hendry, Peter Cushing, and Richard Green. Love me some Joan
Love Peter
Collins.
Cushing. And Joan Collins.
She was in, I saw her just recently in, I was catching up on American Horror Story and saw her in Apocalypse. And she's still just
Yep.
the queen bee in that.
Yep.
So, when people in a tourist group get lost within ancient catacombs, they meet the sinister crypt keeper who tells them each their fate. The macabre stories involve a wife dabbling in murder and a retired sanitation worker targeted by his suspicious neighbors. Other characters include an adulterer whom may face a fitting demise if the crypt keeper's yarns come true.
Great movie. Love it.
I do love the clips that I've seen from the show, especially anything that has Tim Curry in it.
Yeah.
He's my fave.
I actually have a picture of me kissing the crypt keeper.
I believe it. Then we have Deliverance, which came out July 30th by Elmer Enterprises. Got a 7.6 out of 10 on IMDb and 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. Starred John Voight as Ed, Burt Reynolds as Lewis, Ned Beatty as Bobby, and Ronnie Cox as Drew. Four city-dwelling friends decide to get away from their jobs, wives, and kids for a week of canoeing in rural Georgia. When they arrive, they are not welcomed by the backwoods locals who stalk the vacationers and savagely attack them in the woods. Thanks, Georgia.
That's where that comes from. When you hear the banjos.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm actually surprised that was listed as a horror movie.
Mm-hmm. And it's very hard for me to see Burt Reynolds as a city dweller.
Right.
Whenever I was writing all that down, I was like, that just doesn't seem right. And then we have the much anticipated Blacula, which came out in August 25th by Power Productions, which got a 5.7 out of 10 on IMDb and a 46% on Rotten Tomatoes, which stars William Marshall as Blacula, Vanette McGee as Tina, Denise Nicholas as Michelle, and Thalmus Rasula as Dr. Gordon Thomas. So during a visit to Transylvania, an African prince gets turned into a vampire by Dracula. Sealed in a coffin for several lifetimes, Blacula reawakens in 70s LA. What a time.
Great movie. Yep. Great movie if you haven't seen it.
And then lastly for 72, we have The Last House on the Left, which came out August 30th by Sean S. Cunningham Films. Got a 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb and a 63% on Rotten Tomatoes, and is a Wes Craven film.
Yeah.
Which stars Sandra Peabody as Mary, Lucy Grantham as Phyllis, David Hess as Krug, and Fred Lincoln as Weasel. Two teenage girls heading to a rock concert for one's birthday try to score weed in the city, where they are kidnapped and brutalized by a gang of psychopathic convicts. Great time.
Great movie. Love these movies. I'm having so much fun going through all of these.
Mm-hmm.
This is great. So there were a lot of other movies in 1972. We'll try to get through these quickly. There's quite a few. We have All the Colors of the Dark, Asylum, Asylum of Satan, Barren Blood, a movie called Ben, just Ben, Ben. So we got Jonathan, we've got Ben,
Simon.
Simon. At least we know what Simon was.
Yeah, that's true.
We have Beware, the Blob, Black Belly of the Tarantula, Blood Freak, The Blood Spattered Bride, Brain of Blood, Curse of the Headless Horseman, great movie, Daughters of Satan, Dear Dead Delilah, Death Line, Death Master, Demons of the Mind, Dracula AD 1972,
Christopher
Dracula
Lee.
against, yep, Dracula against Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll and the Werewolf, Dr.
Is he on a bike?
Phibes, maybe, who knows? I got it right this time, Abe. Dr. Phibes rises again. Fear
He's back
in the
at it.
Night, The Fiend, The Flesh and Blood Show. That one sounds like it should have been in your first go around there
Mhm.
tonight.
It's probably Italian.
Probably. Frogs. Frogs is pretty good. Fury of the Wolfman, The Glass Ceiling, The Gore Girls. Maybe could have been your
Okay.
first go around.
Okay.
Grave of the Vampire, Home for the Holidays, made for TV movie. And I'm wondering if that's like one of the very first Christmas horror movies.
Mm-hmm. I
That's the
just,
first
they
one.
could have spiced it up a little bit. It was funny. There was one that I saw whenever I was looking stuff up again for the 2000s, and I wish it would have been a movie because it would have been one of those really bad ones to be on Tubi, but it was only a 16-minute short, and I forget
Oh.
exactly what it was called, but they were Christmas trees that were getting mad that they were getting like chopped up to go to people's houses, so they now take vengeance on people during the holidays. And I was like, that's a Christmas movie I want to watch.
Yeah, there's actually a Doctor Who episode where the Christmas trees start attacking people. Yeah.
I just saw that and I was like, oh, this is because it was called like Tree Something, and I was like, what in the all right, I'm
That's
gonna have to
great.
go find this.
Oh, geez. Let's see. We've got Horror Express, Incense for the Damned, Invasion of the Blood Farmers, The Legend of Boggy Creek, let's see, Les Demons, Moon of the Wolf, made for TV movie, Necromancy, Night of 1,000 Cats. That's a lot of cats.
It's gonna be a very smelly night.
Yeah. Night of the Cobra Woman.
She's from the Isle.
Yeah. She made it back. Like Nosferatu, she just shipped her way back.
Yep.
Night of the Devils. Night of the Lepus. Nothing But the Night. The Possession of Joel Delaney. I found that a lot of the possession movies are based on true stories. The Rats Are Coming. The Werewolves Are Here. That's a long title.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one. I was going to say that's all one.
Yeah,
all
that is
one
one
title.
movie. The Rats Are Coming. The Werewolves Are Here. Maybe the werewolves will kill the rats as they make their way there.
Maybe they'll eat them. Eat the rats.
Unless they're huge rats, then they can kill the werewolves. Whatever works. A reflection of fear. Something evil. That's a made-for-TV movie. Super Beast. Tower of Evil. Tragic Ceremony.
Oh,
Oh,
I need to
Abe
watch
said Night
that one
of the
then.
Lepus is Killer Rabbits.
I've got one.
Yeah. I figured that a Boggy Creek is a Bigfoot story. 2 yards underground. The Witch's Mountain. That sounds pretty good. Vampire Circus. What?
All right.
I love vampire movies. I'll have to check that one out. I haven't
Is
seen
it
that.
Vampire Juggle?
Right? We have Baron Witch, and Your Vice is a locked room, and only I have the key.
Oh yeah, I had. Again, I'm wondering if maybe that was another foreign one that the title is just there's that disconnect. It means something totally different.
Right? Your Vice is a locked room, and only I have the key. Take that.
But what is the vice? I
Who
need to know what the
knows?
vice is.
Your Vice is a locked room. I don't
But
know.
what's in the room? It's the killer rabbit.
Write that one down. We'll have to find out.
God, that's going to be a long one.
And that brings us to 1973.
And we start off 73 was a good year. We start
Yeah,
off
we have a lot of movies for 73.
we start off strong with The Exorcist.
Woo!
It's gonna kill my OCD, but forgive me, these ones are out of order date wise. But this one came out December 26th, so just day after Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Here you go.
And everyone
here-
thought this movie was so scary. Like, it was
Well,
the scariest movie of its time.
I was
Like,
about to say Merry Christmas. Here's the movie that like scarred a generation.
yes. And it built up for me over the years, and I finally watched it when I lived alone.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, here it is. I'm going to watch it. This is it. And I was like, why was everyone scared of this?
Yeah.
It's a good movie. And
I
I've even met her.
I appreciate the name Pazuzu. Not to give too any spoilers out there. Won't specify who that is, but just appreciate the name.
So it's a great movie, but you watch it now and you're like, that's not scary.
But I know it happened with a couple different ones, but wasn't it on the set of The Exorcist that they had a lot of shit go wrong?
I know they done Poltergeist.
Then it might be that one that I'm thinking of.
And then a lot of the people who were in the movie died shortly after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew it was one of those, like, your quintessential horror movies that I think this was one too in like theaters. People were like having panic attacks and
they had never seen anything like this.
Apparently they didn't watch The Exorcism of Joel, so
yeah. They could have been prepared.
Yep. So, Merry Christmas, 1973. You got The Exorcist by Hoya Productions, which got an 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb and a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. Starring Miss Linda Blair as Reagan, Ellen Burstyn as Chris, and Max von Sydow as Father Marin. When a mysterious entity possesses a young girl, her mother seeks the help of 2 Catholic priests to save her life. Rest in peace, Pope Francis.
Linda Blair is really nice. I got to meet her.
I've heard good things about her.
Yeah. He's a sweetheart.
And next we have Scream, Blacula, Scream, which came out June 27th by American International Pictures. Got a, hold on, let me look at the, let's see. So this got the same rating on IMDb as the first one, 5.7 out of 10. But got a worse score on Rotten Tomatoes. When Blacula came out, that got a 46%. Scream, Blacula, Scream has a 29% on Rotten Tomatoes. Again, starring William Marshall as Blacula, Don Mitchell as Justin Carter, Pam Grier as Linda Fortier, and Michael Conrad as Sheriff Harley Dunlap. When a hated rival, Lisa Fortier, is chosen to lead the voodoo cult of Willis Daniels' late mother, a vengeful Willis brings the doomed vampire Blacula back to life. And then to follow that up, we've got Blackenstein, which came out August 3rd by Frisco Productions Limited, which got, and I believe so far this is probably the lowest rating on, let me look back here real quick. Yeah, so far the lowest rating, I think, on no, it's not the lowest rating on IMDb. Bigfoot got the lowest rating of 2.1 out of 10. This has got a 3.5 out of 10 on IMDb and 10% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Nice.
Starring John Hart as Dr. Stein, Ivory Stone as Winifred, Joe DeSue as Eddie Turner, and Roosevelt Jackson as Malcolm. Story is about a war veteran whose limbs were medically restored. He becomes a killer when his physician's aide switches his medication.
Nice.
Like they take him off his Xanax? Or...
He becomes a what?
He's a war veteran whose limbs were medically restored. He then becomes a killer when his physician's aide switches his medication.
So his arms are possessed.
I think he was maybe taking medicine for that.
PTSD is a bitch.
And then they switched it.
And then last one for this year, and probably my favorite overall so far, we have The Wicker Man, which came out August 7th by British Lion Films, which got, and I think this one might be the highest rated by 1% so far, the highest rated on Rotten Tomatoes with a 91%, and got a 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb. Give me just a second. Sorry, my voice was starting to get raspy there for a minute. Starring Edward Woodward as Sergeant Howie and Sir Christopher Lee as Lord Summer's Isle. So the sergeant arrives on the small Scottish island of Summer Isle to investigate the report of a missing child. The more the sergeant learns about the island's strange practices, the closer he gets to tracking down the child. But not really. Not the bees! Different version, but still funny.
Is that all you have for 73?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We got Alabama's Ghost. I think that sounds pretty good. I may have to check that one out.
I almost threw that one in there for Bobby, but since he's not here,
Yeah.
I'm glad that I didn't. Since he's going to be a
Oh,
turd.
gosh.
For the
I like
record, I
those
did
stories.
see the Alabama White thing. So just for the record, so I did see it, and I
And
thought it was a ghost. So
Are you sure it wasn't just Bobby?
no, I didn't know Bobby then, but
Oh,
yeah. It wasn't
Gotcha.
Wendell either. Didn't know Wendell then. I don't know what just happened. Oh, okay.
gotcha.
all right, and we've got and now the screaming starts, and the baby, a bell from hell, blood for Dracula. Did you have blood orgy of the she devils earlier?
Yes, that
Okay,
was
I thought so.
the the witch queen.
Yep. We've got the boy who cried werewolf. Sorry, the boy who cried werewolf. Cannibal girls. Ceremonia sangrienta. Children shouldn't play with the dead. With the
Agreed.
dead things. Sorry, children shouldn't play with dead things.
Still agreed.
The crazies. The creeping flesh. Crypt of the living dead. Dark places. Dead people. Death smiles on a murderer. The devil's daughter. Don't be afraid of the dark. Loved it. Loved it. I remember I got real sunburnt once and I had to just lay and let them put towels that had been soaked in buttermilk on my back, and I lay there watching that. Don't look
Good
now.
books.
hmm Um, don't look now. And Dracula, Doctor Death, Seeker of Souls, Female Vampire, Flesh for Frankenstein, The Forgotten, Frankenstein, The True Story, made for TV movie, From Beyond the Grave, God Monster of Indian Flats, Hexen, The Hidden of Maccabianjo. That's a really long word, and I
Mock
guarantee I did
banjo.
not say that right.
Gotcha. Mock the banjo. Got it.
There you go. Horror Hospital, Horror Rises from the Tomb,
I feel like
Hunchback.
horror hospital should have been like on with Days of Our Lives.
Oh, right.
Like a medical drama, but with classic monsters.
Especially when like Hope was possessed and everything. That
Yep.
was great. I don't think you were born yet, Cheyenne, but that was great when that happened on Days of Our Lives. I think everyone tuned in to watch Hope get possessed.
Thankfully, Mom never watched soaps, but whenever she went to the same place for us to get our hair cut, and they also had tanning beds, and Mom tanned, and that is all Phyllis kept on the TV out front there. And I'm just like, can we watch something else?
Yeah, because if you didn't keep up with it and know what's going on, then you're lost. So it was good though. That's when I started watching it. Was when Hope was possessed. Let's see. You've got Horror Rises from the Tomb, Hunchback of the Rue Morgue. Let's go up here. We've got The Legend of Hell House. I think Abe just yelled at me.
What'd you mispronounce?
Maybe he's yelling at the dog. Lemora. Leptrecia. That's a made-for-TV movie. Lisa and the Devil.
All right, Lisa.
Okay. Malatesta's Carnival of Blood. The Mansion of Madness. That sounds pretty good. Messiah of Evil. A Name for Evil. Night of the Sorcerers. Night Watch.
I wonder if the
Psychomania.
Night of the Sorcerers also had bird women.
Maybe. Let's see. Psychomania, The Pigs.
He's
Ret-
correcting your knowledge on the soaps. It was Marlena that got
oh,
possessed.
sorry. Marlena was possessed. I'm sorry.
We're learning new things about Abe here. All right. Abe's into the soaps. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Everyone watched it when she was possessed. That's the only time I ever watched it. Once she wasn't possessed anymore, I was done.
Like,
We've got Return of the Blind Dead. They can't see where they're going.
yeah, so I'm like, are we talking about like blind zombies? Like they're just going to be bumping into each other and.
I guess. That's weird. The Return of Walpurgis. Satan's School for Girls, made for TV movie. The Satanic Rites of Dracula.
At least it's not the
Schlock,
erotic. At least it's not the erotic rites of Dracula.
right? We've got Seven Deaths in the Cat's Eye,
I did
a
see that
movie
one.
called Sisters, just sisters,
Sisters.
right?
Sisters.
We've got that's the name of the movie.
It's called what? Very catchy. Very catchy. Rolls off the tongue,
I,
really.
I believe they actually show that one on Spinguli sometimes. We've got Terror of the Living Dead, Theater of Blood, Three on a Meat Hook, Torso,
Must be a big meat hook.
Big Meat Hook, yeah, Torso, Vault of Horror, A Virgin Among the Living Dead. I feel like that one should have been on your first list.
I did think about that, but then I was like, I don't think that type of virgin would what.
I wonder if she's still a virgin at the end of the movie.
So, I have not run across many movies with zombies that require a virgin for any reason, so I don't. I could
Who
be missing
knows?
something. Who knows? Yeah, who knows?
Voodoo Black Exorcist,
Okay.
Warlock Moon, The Werewolf of Washington, and you spoke about The Wicker Man. So that is 73. And it's funny because as the 70s go on, these lists get shorter. So like it
Yeah,
was booming at the beginning, and then you'll notice each year gets shorter and shorter.
yeah, they're shorter and shorter on mine too.
Mm-hmm. So
So
that is 73. So let's go to 74.
well, we start off 74 with a little more Vincent Price with Madhouse, which came out March 28th by Amicus Productions, which got a 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb and a 49% on Rotten Tomatoes, which stars Vincent Price as Paul Toombs, Peter Cushing as Herbert Flay, Robert Query as Oliver Quayle, and Linda Hayden as Elizabeth Peters. So the synopsis of this one, I had to shorten a little bit more than what it already had, but it's basically a horror movie star returns to his famous role after years in a mental institution, but the character seems to be committing murders independent of his will.
Great movie.
I have not seen that one, but after I read that, I was quite interested.
Oh yeah, watch all the Vincent Price movies. Can't go wrong.
And then, of course, the absolute classic, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which came out October 1st by Vortex Inc. Got a 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb and an 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. There were so many people in that movie. The only one that I felt was relevant enough was Gunnar Hansen plays Leatherface.
Yeah, there's a
so
lot of people in that.
a group of youngsters come across a family of psychopaths who attack them with a variety of gruesome methods. Before those who survive escape, they are pursued by the chainsaw-wielding Leatherface. Classic, and without Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Rob Zombie would have nothing. Still love you, Rob Zombie, though.
Yeah.
And to end out 74, we end it with a Merry Christmas with Black Christmas by Ambassador Film. Got a 7.1 out of 10 on IMDb, and funny enough, a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes, which stars Olivia Hussey as Jess, Margot Kidder as Barb, John Saxon as Lieutenant Fuller, and Keir, I'm going to say Dula, kind of what it looks like, as Peter.
Sounds good to me.
During their Christmas break, a group of sorority girls are stalked by a stranger, and the call is coming from inside the house.
Every time. There's another good Christmas movie on this list. We'll get to that.
All right.
First, we have Abby. Never seen it. Another just
All right.
one
So
name
we've
movie.
got Jonathan, Ben, and Abby. All right.
Yep. We have the Bat People. So now we have people who are bats. The Beast Must Die. Beyond the Door. There's always that things like that made me think of Friends, Monica's door where she has, and they're like, I never noticed that door. What's in there? We have Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter.
All right.
That makes me think Captain Time Clock. Kronos is my time clock at work.
Oh, you're right. We had Cronus whenever I worked at Wood Forest. Yep.
We've got Dead of Night, Demoniacs, Deranged, Don't Open the Door.
But what's
somebody's
behind
got to open this door. Somebody's got to open the door. Cheyenne would open the door.
I would, because I'm a nosy bitch. It's little.
We're like, I'm going to wait outside, and you just let me know what you find.
Gotcha. Roger,
and then she never comes out.
And
then I'll wonder, and I'll walk inside and be like, where did she go? And then I'll open the door, and then I'll be gone.
We are now Queen of the Witches.
Let's see. We've got the Eerie Midnight Horror Show. That sounds pretty good. Flavia. 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 Who knows?
Sounds like it's reminding me of Splenda, so I feel like it's
a
sweetener.
That's what I was thinking.
Like a flowery sweetener, Flavia.
Which will kill you.
Yep.
Do not drink fake sugars.
They taste terrible anyway.
Yeah. They're awful for you. Let's see. We've got Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell. Frightmare.
I'm thinking it's giving me Frankenstein versus the Balrog.
Okay. Yeah.
Frankenstein's going to lose, but I'd watch it.
The Ghost from Gallon. Horror High. The House of Seven Corpses. House of Whipcord. The House of Skull Mountain. It's Alive. Is the next movie.
How many exclamation points?
Just one.
I wanted it to
Just
be a little
one.
extra excited.
I know. I tried. Even though there's one. We've got a flavor Flavia.
Yep.
Then we had to change it to Flavor Flavia. I love it, Chris. That's great.
Oh, that was good.
Flavor Flavia. We've got Killdozer. It'll get me laughing. I won't be able to stop.
Because it just keeps repeating in his voice in my head.
You just see Flavor Flav, with the big clock around his neck while killing people.
I'm just picturing a giant packet of sugar instead of a clock. He's just got a giant sweet and low pack. Oh gosh.
I will kill you with fake sugar.
Flavor Flav. God, it's so stupid.
Ooh, we need sleep.
Yep. I have not slept since 5 o'clock last night. So.
I feel like I haven't slept in 5 years.
Oh gosh. I can't.
Let's see. We've got The Legend of the 7 Golden Vampires.
Okay.
How are they golden? Like, what? Are they just old? Like,
it's like the Golden Girls, but it's the vampires.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can get down to that. You've got a really an old crotchety one, a real bitchy one, and a slutty vampire. I'm down with that. I'd watch that.
That's great. And then the ditzy one.
And then one of them's gotta bring their like decrepit
Their purse everywhere.
Their decrepit mother comes to live in the castle with them.
Oh, that's great.
Picture it, Sicily, 1982.
Hey, that's the year after I was born.
That's the first number that came to mind.
I remember that damn year. Come on now.
She's like, picture it. Sicily 1926.
Picture it, Sicily, 1642. Don't.
We don't care.
We've got, here we go. We've got Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. You talked about Madhouse. We've got Moonchild. People Toys.
I think that should have been on the first list.
It's one word, People Toys. All one word.
I'm going to investigate that one. We need to investigate that one.
Yeah, for sure. We've got The Perfume of the Woman in Black. We've got Phantom of the Paradise.
The Woman in Black. Where's Love Spell?
I love the movies Woman in Black. We watched the original and then watched the one with Daniel Radcliffe. They're both really good. We've got Phantom of the Paradise, Scream of the Wolf. It was a made-for-TV movie. We have Seizure. And then our other Christmas movie from 1974 is Silent Night, Bloody Night. Great movie. We watch it every year practically. We've got Sugar Hill, The Thirsty Dead, and Vampires with a Y. And that is 1974.
All right. So now I will move from my notes over to my phone here. So starting out 75, I believe this would probably be the first anthology that I saw. Will be Trilogy of Terror, which got a 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb and 85% on Rotten Tomatoes, and was put out by 20th Century Fox. basically the same woman appears in 3 tales as a blackmailed teacher, a tormented lover, and opposite sisters. And that stars Robert Burton as Chad Foster, John Carlin as Thomas Anmar, George Gaines as Dr. Chester Ramsey, and Jim Storm as Eddie Niels. The like voodoo dollish thing on that one always creeped me out. And then the classic that made everybody scared to go in the water, we've got Jaws.
Woo! That's a great one.
Yep. Absolute classic. Got an 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb. And the highest Rotten Tomatoes score so far with a 97%.
That's one of Abe's favorites. And I hear them in there making fun of me for going, woo!
And that was put out by Universal Pictures. And, of course, starred Roy Schneider. Good God. I was looking at the B for Brody and went to Rob Schneider.
Oh.
Roy Schneider as Brody, Robert Shaw as Quint, Richard Dreyfuss as Hooper, and Lorraine Gary as Ellen Brody.
Richard Dreyfuss is fantastic. Yeah, Chris, I love Jaws. As long as I know the fish can't touch me, I'm good.
I would love to see that giant animatronic.
Yes, that would be so cool. You have so many like throwbacks to Jaws in other movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. Like the license plate pops up in other movies.
Mm-hmm.
So you always have to watch.
And then how, I mean, I'm sure at the time it would have been fantastic, but I like to say how fantastically awful Jaws 3D was. Of just that, it just swimming at the glass of them standing down there in the aquarium. And it just looks so terrible. Like it doesn't look like it's going anywhere. And then to end out 1975 with my number one favorite movie of all time, The Rocky Horror Picture Show, which got a 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb and an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, and was put out by 20th Century Fox. It is the cult classic sweethearts Brad and Janet, stuck with a flat tire during a storm, discover the eerie mansion of Dr. Frankenfurter, a transvestite scientist. As their innocence is lost, Brad and Janet meet a house full of wild characters, including a rocking biker and a creepy butler. Through elaborate dances and rock songs, Frankenfurter unveils his latest creation, a muscle man named Rocky. And we get Tim Curry as Frankenfurter, Robert O'Brien as Riff Raff, Susan Sarandon as Janet Weiss, Barry Boswick as Brad Majors, Meatloaf as Eddie, Peter Hinwood as Rocky, and Patricia Quinn as Magenta.
Nice. Great movie. They play it in Lexington a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And they have, like, you don't know who you're sitting beside. You could be sitting beside one of the cast members.
That's crazy.
And they'll get up and perform, like, and do different things throughout the movie. So it's a lot of fun.
So, funny enough, that was actually the first more risque movie that I was given whenever I was younger, and it was a Christmas present that was snuck to me by my sister.
Oh, that's great.
It was back when we had like when we had DVR and had like Stars and Showtime and Cinemax and all that. There was one summer that whole channel, that's all it played, just continuously on repeat. And I fell into it like mid movie and was just like, "It's the greatest thing ever. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen." All the songs are bops. Love it.
Yeah,
Absolutely
I
love it.
love Meatloaf.
And even the Glee's rendition of it, I thought was really good too.
Yep.
So that is at the end of 75. So what do we have going on from there?
We have Autopsy and Blacker Than the Night. A movie called Bug. Just Bug.
Bug. Okay.
Criminally Insane. Deep Red. The Devil's Rain. Exorcismo. The Ghoul. We have, I'm going to say, Issa, She-Wolf of the SS. Like a Camaro? Like
no, wait. What? One more
or
time.
a
What
ship?
was it?
It's She-Wolf of the SS.
That honestly might be one of those Nazi werewolf movies.
Okay. No idea.
It is.
Like, oh, okay.
Ah.
I was gonna say like dog soldiers, I believe.
Yeah.
So
Let's see. We've got Island of Death, Legend of the Werewolf, Lips of Blood, Night of the Seagulls.
is this a different interpretation of the birds?
Right? They attack everyone on the beach.
I mean, they do that already, but
Right? Dare you to walk out there with a cookie or something. We've got The Night of the Walking Dead, Race with the Devil, Rattlers. We've got Shivers.
I think rattlers is probably a different species of the people that live on the island of snake people. They live on the other side of the island.
There you go. That works. Yeah, Chris, I had a Camaro. Love Camaros.
It's just a different version of Christine.
There you go. We've got The Stepford Wives, The Werewolf and the Yeti, The Werewolf of Woodstock. And
Okay,
is it just a really hairy man at Woodstock?
I'm just thinking of like full-on werewolf, but just like tie-dyed t-shirt, just
right.
Like he's barely
than everybody else.
His
Like
eyes are barely, but his eyes are barely open.
You can see him over the top of everybody else. You're like, Krauser.
He's just howling.
And that's 1975.
Wow, that was a quick year.
Yeah. Yep.
I guess everybody was like, yeah, Jaws came out. We're stopping from there. So for 76, we are going to start off with The Omen, which got a 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb and an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. was put out by 20th Century Fox. American diplomat Robert adopts Damien when his wife Catherine delivers a stillborn baby after Damien's first nanny hangs herself. Father Brennan warns Robert that Damien will kill Catherine's unborn child. Shortly thereafter, Brennan dies and Catherine miscarries when Damien pushes her off a balcony. As more people around Damien die, Robert investigates Damien's background and realizes his adopted son might be the Antichrist. And that stars Gregory Peck as Robert Thorne, Lee Rennick as Catherine Thorne, Harvey Stevens as Damien, and David Warner as Jennings.
Great movie.
And now we are starting to jump into we are sticking our toes into the beginning of the Stephen King era, and we got Carrie, which I'm so excited for the 80s.
I know. Almost there.
Almost there. Which got a 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb and a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, and was put out by Red Bank Films. In this chilling adaptation of Stephen King's horror novel, withdrawn and sensitive teen Carrie faces taunting from classmates at school and abuse from her fanatically pious mother at home. When strange occurrences start happening around Carrie, she begins to suspect that she may have supernatural powers. Invited to the prom by the empathetic Tommy Ross, Carrie tries to let her guard down, but things eventually take a dark turn and turn violent. Which we have the legendary Sissy Spacek as Carrie White, John Travolta as Billy Nolan, Piper Laurie as Margaret White, and Amy Irving as Sue Snell.
Great movie.
And then last on my list for 76, we have King Kong, which got a 6 out of 10 on IMDb and a 55% on Rotten Tomatoes. Was put out by Paramount Pictures. And when a research ship is sent to explore an island thought to be rich in oil, paleontologist Jack Prescott sneaks aboard, having heard strange rumors about the island. And Ruth, the crew, rescues... Is her name Dawn or Dwan?
Dawn.
They have Dwan.
Oh.
Dwan. D-W-A-N.
Oh my gosh.
I figured, but I just... The sole survivor of a shipwreck. When they arrive, they find native people living in fear of a monster called Kong. The natives kidnap Dwan and sacrifice her to what turns out to be an enormous ape. Again, Dwan is eventually rescued and the ape captured for a gala exhibit.
Maybe it is Dwan.
I think it very well might be Dwan, because everywhere on here they have Dwan.
Yeah.
But
I feel like it is Dwan.
Now,
I know it's weird, but I think it is.
As Dwan, probably one of my favorite actresses, Jessica Lange. And it's funny, I knew that she was in this, and I did not know until I was doing like all of my outlines for everything. I did not know that Jeff Bridges was in this. And seeing such a young Jeff Bridges was quite interesting. because I guess
Look
you just
that up.
automatically assume he looks like the dude and everything.
Yeah.
It's odd. But Jeff Bridges as Jack Prescott, Charles
That's
Grodin
crazy.
as Fred Wilson, and Ed Lauder as Carnahan.
It is Dwan. I just pulled it up. It is Dwan. Yeah. And there's Jeff Bridges. He looks so funny. Oh my
And
gosh.
I think there were jokes made that pretty sure she did not wear a bra once in that whole movie.
He was handsome when he was young. Oh my goodness.
But with the long hair and everything.
Yeah. Looks like Tarzan or something.
So what else do we have for 76?
We have Alice, Sweet Alice. That's a great movie. And we have APE. Guessing it's about an ape.
A period, P period, E period. Okay.
We have Bloodbath, Blood Sucking Freaks, Burnt Offerings, Creature from Black Lake, Death at Love House, made for TV movie.
I think Creature from Black Lake is like Gilman's like second cousin.
Oh. I can see that. I can see that being very similar. Let's see, we've got Death Machines, Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde, Eaten Alive, God Told Me To, Grizzly, House of Mortal Sin, The House with Laughing Windows. That's interesting.
All right.
Inquisition, JD's Revenge, Kiss of the Tarantula,
No.
and right,
No.
La Lupa Minare, Land of the Minotaur, Look What's Happened to Rosemary's Baby, made for TV, Mansion of the Doomed, Rattlers, made for TV, Solo or The 120 Days of Saddam, Schizo.
I've heard about that one.
Yeah. Schizo. And then we have Squirm and Snuff. Lots of just one name movies. One word movies. We've got To the Devil a Daughter, The Town That Dreaded Sundown, and Track of the Moon Beast.
All right.
And that is all for 76.
All right. So going into 77, we have The Hills Have Eyes, which has a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb and a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes. Another Wes Craven film, which was put out by Blood Relations Company. Wes Craven's cult classic about cannibalistic mountain folk, including the Carter family, who are on the trail of stranded vacationers in the arid southwest Californian desert. We have Robert Houston as Bobby Carter, Michael Berryman as Pluto, Dee Wallace as Lynn Wood, and Susan Lanier as Brenda Carter. I'm so glad that we get to see Michael Berryman again in some Rob Zombie.
And this is the original.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Suspiria,
Great
which
movie.
which got a 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb. And it would not pull up for me on Rotten Tomatoes for some reason.
Oh, that's weird.
But that was put out by Sita Spedicali. That is the production company. Susie travels to Germany to attend ballet school. When she arrives late on a stormy night, no one lets her in, and she sees Pat, another student, fleeing from the school. When Pat reaches her apartment, she is murdered. The next day, Susie is admitted to her new school, but has a difficult time settling in. She hears noises and often feels ill. As more people die, Susie uncovers the terrifying secret history of the place.
Great movie.
And there we get Jessica Harper as Susie, Stefania Cassini as Sarah, Flavio Bucci as Daniel, and Miguel Bose as Mark. And then finally, for 77, we have Exorcist 2, The Heretic, which got a 3.5 out of 10 on IMDb and a measly 10% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Gotta love those sequels.
Owning to his experience with exorcism, Father Lamont is chosen by his superiors to investigate the death of Father Marin, who died during the exorcism of young Reagan McNeil. Lamont finds Reagan under the psychiatric care of Dr. Tuskin. By hypnotizing the girl, he is able to learn that Marion previously exorcised the same demon from a boy in Africa. Hoping for answers, Lamont travels to Africa in search of the youth. Which, of course, we get Linda Blair once again as Reagan, Richard Burton as Father Philip, Kitty Wynn as Sharon Spencer, and Louise Fletcher as Dr. Jean Tuskin.
I must say, though, even though it's a sequel, it's still a great movie.
I had to re-look it up because I was confused on whether that was the one that Jeffrey Dahmer was obsessed with or it was 3, but it was actually 3.
Okay. Interesting. I didn't know that.
That was one of the things that he would lure guys back to his house to watch The Exorcist 3. And there's a very funny thread on Reddit of people talking about it. And they were like, the first red flag is when somebody asks me to come back and watch Exorcist 3.
Right? Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Not the way to start out with someone, is it?
Nah, but I mean, if you're somebody called it Netflix and drill, which I got quite the laugh at. So if you know, you know. So
wow. Nice. Nice. Also in 77, we had Audrey Rose and Axe, The Bloodlust, The Car, The Child, Count Dracula made-for-TV movie, Day of the Animals, Deathbed, The Bed That Eats. Interesting. The Demon Lover, Demon Seed, Drive-In Massacre, Empire of the Ants, Eraserhead, which was pretty big, Full Circle, Good Against Evil, Haunts, It Happened at Lakewood Manor, that was a made-for-TV movie, Kingdom of the Spiders, Last Cannibal World, Martin. Now we have Martin.
okay, so Jonathan, Ben, Abby, Martin. All right.
Orca. That's pretty good. The Pack. The Possessed. Raid. Rituals. Ruby. Satan's Cheerleaders. The Sentinel. Shock. Shockwaves. Tentacoli. Terror of Frankenstein. The Uncanny. And Watch Me When I Kill. That's 77.
All right. Now, we have got a considerable more here for 78 than we have for the last little bit. We got some good ones. So we start off 78 with Halloween, which of course got a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb and a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. Obviously a John Carpenter film, and was put out by Compass International Pictures. On a cold Halloween night in 1963, 6-year-old Michael Myers brutally murdered his 17-year-old sister Judith. He was sentenced and locked away for 15 years, but on October 30th, 1978, while being transferred for a court date, a 21-year-old Michael Myers steals a car and escapes Smith's Grove. He returns to his quiet hometown of Haddonfield, Illinois, where he looks for his next victims.
I love Jamie Lee Curtis, but the Halloween movies are so slow.
They are. We've got, of course, Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie, Donald Pleasance as Loomis, Tony Moran playing Michael Myers at age 23, Nancy Keys as Annie, and PJ Souls as Linda.
We try to watch Halloween on Halloween night.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do on Halloween. And they just keep going, and no matter how fast someone runs, he walks and always catches them. And I don't know, it's one of my least favorite horror movies, probably.
See, that is Mom's all-time favorite movie.
Yeah.
And even like in the newer one, she's like, they haven't figured out how to kill him yet.
Right. I mean, they've done everything to this guy, and he still lives.
Like, okay, you figure out how to get him down, you chop his head off, you chop his body up into parts, and pull a Megatron and go dump him in the Marianas Trench.
I mean, he's been burned. He's been to space. He's everything.
No, has Michael been to space? I thought that was Jason.
Yeah.
Which one did he go to space?
It was Jason.
Yeah, Jason X was in space.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, you could say the same thing about Jason.
But God, yeah. Yeah. I'm like, geez.
How many times did he go to hell?
Right?
So then in 78, also we've got Dawn of the Dead, which has a 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb and a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. Obviously a favorite of George Romero, and was produced by the Laurel Group, where we get David, it's EMGE is the last name, EMGE. We've got David as Stephen, Tom Savini as a motorcyclist, Ken Forey as Peter, and Galen Ross as Francine. As hordes of zombies swarm over the U.S., the terrified populace tries everything in their power to escape the attack of the undead, but neither cities nor the countryside prove safe. In Pennsylvania, radio station employees Stephen and his girlfriend Francine escape in the station helicopter, accompanied by 2 renegade squad members, Roger and Pete. The group retreats to the haven of an enclosed shopping center to make what could be humanity's last stand.
Great movie.
And then next we have Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which has a 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb and a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. That was put out by Walter Wagner Productions. We get, of course, the classic Donald Sutherland as Matthew Bennell, Brooke Adams as Elizabeth, Jeff Goldblum, Jeffrey plays Jack, and Veronica Cartwright plays Nancy. Matthew Bennell assumes that when a friend complains of her husband's strange mood, it's a marital issue. However, he begins to worry as more people report similar observations. His concern is confirmed when writer Jack and his wife discover a mutated corpse. Besieged by an invisible enemy, Bennell must work quickly before the city is consumed. Which he just ends up being screwed in the end anyway, so.
Just run it for everybody, Cheyenne.
Sorry. I didn't tell him what happened. I can just picture that scene in my head, though. And then we have Jaws 2, which had a 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb and a 56% on Rotten Tomatoes.
All of the Jaws movies are pretty good.
Yeah, I remember taking one summer just to watch the whole string of them, and I was like, I mean, I don't know what they had to have done to this shark for her to hold such a grudge, but all right.
Yeah, even for sequels, they were pretty good. It's hard to have a good sequel, but they were good.
Yeah, I mean, I was significantly younger when I sat down and watched them all. I was probably in my mid to late teens, but no, I remember them being good then.
Mm-hmm.
And that was put out by Universal Pictures. So years after the shark attack that left Amity Island reeling, Sheriff Martin Brody finds new trouble lurking in the waters. Mayor Vaughn wants to rid the beach town of the stain on its reputation, but the disappearance of a pair of divers suggests that all is not right. When Sheriff Brody voices his warnings about holding a sailing competition, everyone thinks it's post-traumatic stress. That is, until a shark fin cuts through the water. And once again, we get Roy Schneider playing Brody, Donna Wilkes playing Jackie Peters, Mark Gruner playing Michael Brody, and Cindy Grover playing Lucy. And then we have got 2 more for this year. Next, we have I Spit on Your Grave, which got the ratings for this one were a little hard to find, understandably so if you've seen it. But on IMDb, it got a 5.6 out of 10. and was put out by Cinemagic Pictures. After a young writer is brutally taken advantage of and left for dead by 4 men, she systematically hunts them down one by one to exact a terrible vengeance.
Great movie.
Man, does she do a good job at it. And we get Camille Keaton as Jennifer, Aaron Tabor as Johnny, Richard Pace as Matthew, and Anthony Nichols as Stanley. And I saved the best of this year for last with Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Which, of course, got a measly 4.6 out of 10 on IMDb.
I can't imagine. How dare them?
Of just seeing tomatoes roll down the road. And a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes. And hey, if you haven't seen it and you want to, it's free on Tubi. I love the poster for it also, which makes it look like it's going to be a cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
And that was put out by Foursquare Productions. In a spoof of low-budget sci-fi films, oozing tomatoes go on the rampage, splattering innocent victims. That's putting it mildly.
That's great.
So the funny thing with finding the actors for this, and I don't know if it's because of how poorly it's rated, but your first couple of casts are housewife, detective number 1, detective number 2, husband, wife, old woman, guard at gate, janitor, sergeant.
No one has a name.
Yep. The budget was apparently between 90 and 100,000.
I thought you were going to say $90 to $100.
I mean, that would have bought you a lot of tomatoes back then.
Oh my gosh.
But that is all I've got for 78. Like I said, we
All
gotta save the best of the year for last.
The rest of 78 is Alien Prey, Alucarda, The Alpha Incident, Are You in the House Alone? Made for TV, The Bermuda Triangle, Blue Sunshine, Coma, The Comeback, Day of the Woman, Death Moon, The Evil, Faces of Death. So if you have not seen the Faces of Death movie, you may not want to, because they actually take incidents that were caught on camera where people die and put them all together on video.
Wow.
We've got The Fury, The Grapes of Death.
Oh, please tell me. Please tell me. It's gonna be like shot for shot recreation of Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, but it's just grapes.
It's grapes.
Or just like bundles of grapes just being tossed through the air.
Oh my gosh.
They kill them, you gotta stomp them into wine.
And then instantly drink it.
Yep. Absorb their power.
We've got The Initiation of Sarah. Let's see. The Legacy, Long Weekend, Mardi Gras Massacre, Magic.
Oh, that might have had to have went under the first one too. Lord, Mardi Gras Massacre. There's titties everywhere.
Right? Beads flying. We've got Mirrors, Nurse Sherry, Oh, we've got Patrick. Add Patrick to the list.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if we've got Jonathan, Ben, Abby. I'm missing the one after Abby. There was another one. There was one after Abby and Ben.
We have Ruby
Oh, we've got Ruby now too. Good Lord.
and Martin.
Martin was the other one. Okay.
Martin,
Jonathan,
Ruby, and
Jonathan, Ben, Abby, Martin, Ben, Ruby.
you're right. Martin,
Yep, got that.
then Ruby, Jonathan, and Patrick.
We're just going to
we've
have
got
a list of movies to watch that are just people's names.
right. We've got Piranha, which is a great movie. We've got The Redeemer, Son of Satan, The Shout, Terror, and The Toolbox Murders.
Just every now and again, hey! That's all you hear in the shout.
And that's 78. So we just have 79.
Yep. So for 79, we are starting out with Phantasm.
Great cast. Love them.
Which got a 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb and a 73% on Rotten Tomatoes. Was put out by Avco Embassy Pictures. The residents of a small town have begun dying under strange circumstances, leading young Mike to investigate. After discovering that the tall man, the town's mortician, is killing and reanimating the dead as misshapen zombies, Mike seeks help from his older brother Jody and local ice cream man Reggie. Working together, they try to lure out and kill the tall man, all the while avoiding his minions and a deadly silver sphere.
Yeah. I love the Phantasm movies. I've gotten to meet the whole cast. Kathy Lester is amazing. She's so sweet. Can't say enough good things about the cast and the movie. Fantastic.
And we get A. Michael Baldwin as Mike, Bill Thornberry as Jody, Reggie Bannister as Reggie, and Kenneth Jones as the caretaker. Then also for 79, we've got the Amityville Horror, which got a 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb and a 31% on Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Clicked on the wrong thing. That was put out by American International Pictures. And it is a chiller about a family who is terrorized by supernatural forces when they move into a new house in New York State, which was the scene of a recent mass killing and the home of an 18th century Satanist. When swarms of flies appear from nowhere and the pipes and walls begin to ooze slime and blood, they call on a local priest to exorcise the evil spirits. And we get Margot Kidder as Kathy Lutz, Rob Steiger as Father Delaney, Murray Hamilton as Father Ryan, Natasha Ryan as Amy, and Helen Shaver as Carolyn.
Great movie. Of course, based on a true story.
Mm-hmm. And then best for last, obviously, we end out 79 with Alien, which got an 8.5 out of 10 on IMDb, a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. Obviously, a Ridley Scott film and screenplay by Dan O'Bannon. Was put out by 20th Century Fox. In deep space, the crew of the commercial starship Nostromo is awakened from their crypto sleep capsules halfway through their journey home to investigate a distress call from an alien vessel. The terror begins when the crew encounters a nest of eggs inside the alien ship. An organism from inside an egg leaps out and attaches itself to one of the crew, causing him to fall into a coma. Which, of course, we get Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, Tom Skerritt as Dallas, Virginia Cartwright as Lambert, Ian Holm as Ash, and John Hurt taking one for the team as Kane.
I usually don't like alien movies, but these are good movies.
Mm-hmm.
They're great.
And that is all I have got for 79, ma'am.
All right. We've also got Beyond the Darkness, The Brood, Crocodile, Dip Bin, Don't Go in the House. We know Cheyenne's going in. Dracula, The Driller Killer, Fascination.
So they were making movies about Dahmer before shit
Right?
even hit the fan.
Yeah. The Haunting of M. Human Experiment.
Like EM or the letter
Yep.
M?
Just the letter M.
Okay.
The Haunting of M. A Human Experiment. Sounds interesting. Here we go, Chris. Here's my worst nightmare. Killer Fish.
Just not
There we
even,
go.
it could just be goldfish. They don't even specify. It's just fish.
Yep. And they kill.
Great.
Murder by Decree. Nightwing. Phantasm. Prophecy. Salem's Lot, made for TV.
Still a good one.
Savage Weekend. Stridulum. We've got Thirst. Tourist Trap. Up from the Depths. When a Stranger Calls. Wolfman and Zombie 2.
And that is the
70s.
Oh shoot, what did we call it again? The
Disco Inferno.
Disco Inferno, the Disco Inferno of Fear. You can tell that I have not slept.
The Disco Inferno of Fear, the 70s.
Burn, baby, burn.
And we still haven't got to when Cheyenne is born.
Yep.
We're almost to when I was born.
Hey,
it's
we
all
started.
Good.
Hey, remember, we started 26 years to the day before my birth. The first movie came out on January 14th.
We are getting there. The 80s are going to be great. I'm so excited about the 80s. So
Yes.
many wonderful movies.
Now, that one is definitely going to take some planning because there's
we
a
may
lot
have to
in
have
there.
like 2 or 3 weeks of talking about the 80s.
Yeah. Well, and shoot, we're gonna have to take the 2000s too, like getting through the 70s on the IMDb page was 3 pages. When I went to pull up looking for that one movie in the 2000s, just between 2000 and 2009 was 7 pages.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's going to take a while.
Yeah. So we might have to do like
the name ones or something.
That or do like do the 2000s in like 5-year increments.
Yeah. But we'll be back May 5th to talk about the 80s or start the 80s. And of course, you can catch us every Wednesday night on Para or Normal Guys at 9 p.m. We'll be back on May 5th and hope you all enjoyed the 70s.
Thank you for hanging on for the extra half hour. We
Yeah,
had a lot to get through.
we appreciate it. We sped it up a little bit for you guys.
I can tell you
Remember,
have a passion for this. So
yes. Remember to
Yes.
like, follow, share, and subscribe. Subscribe.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Subscribe.
Tell everybody, Chris. Tell everybody.
Yes.
You've been
Yes.
slacking.
Subscribe.
They all need to subscribe. We need about 5,000 more people. So Wednesday night, who's with me? Amanda, you're with me, correct?
Yep.
All
I'll be
right.
here
Well,
Wednesday night.
we have two great guests. Taki Soma, she's got a comic book out right now that's called Alien, I believe. And then Omar Morales, he has a great comic book out called Major Thomas.
Yes, Major Thomas.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it from what I have read so far. Big thumbs up.
It's a great book or comic book. It really is.
Yeah,
It's got
and the
great
art. The art is phenomenal. The story so far has been really good. So
yeah.
definitely go out there and look for it if you can find it anywhere. I don't know where he has it.
It's on Amazon.
We'll find out Wednesday, but if you can find it on Amazon, highly suggest you getting it. I'm more of the type of comic book person to just want to flip through and look at the art. But like I was legitimately sitting there reading it. It was really good.
Yeah, it's a great story. It really sucked me in. So it's a great story. So Taki's is as well, but she's doing a series where he is doing with Major Thomas a one-off. So Taki's is good. And here's the thing. All right, Amanda, I just need to warn you. They both have grays in them. Both of them are talking about UFOs. So who knows what will happen. We may not have
a show at all.
Yeah, who knows what will happen. Anytime we go to have a show that's anything to do with the extra testicle. So.
Well, maybe since they aren't directly UFO people, it'll be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully. Omar interviewed an astronaut, so I'm hoping we'll get some backstory.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I hope we get a backstory. Cool. So yeah. So
I was already peeved at the beginning for Thomas breaking up with his girlfriend. I was peeved.
Gets better. Gets much better.
I hope so. I didn't get to read a whole lot of it, but I was like,
I'm annoyed at where it left off, which is always a good sign. So it's always a good sign where you left off. I'm annoyed at that point.
Yeah,
but it's definitely.
I was like, oh, you idiot.
Oh, you can't. And so I gotta wait till next month for it. So, yeah. So if you get a chance, check hers out as well. Hers is just as good. It's a series that they're doing, but his was a one-off. Man, he's gonna win all kind of awards for this thing.
Yep.
Nice.
It's great.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So, all right, we have kept everybody way too long. Cheyenne, when will we see you again?
Sometime.
Okay. All right. Well,
ask me again after I've gotten some sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So,
I'm just right now.
Amanda's working on some projects too, so that's top secret. Yep. We can't talk about that yet. So. Yeah. Loose lips sink ships. All right. And by the way, I didn't know earlier the music was still playing because I couldn't hear it. So. I thought I'd hit stop.
Wicked.
I was just like,
when you said something about it, I looked over. I'm like, oh crap, it's still playing. So
at least it wasn't super loud.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you to everybody. Please remember, like, follow, share, and subscribe. We love you. We will see you soon. Thanks to Yergs at yergsradio.com, and of course Rainbow Radio and
WZQR.
Pine Island, Florida. We love you.